So, good afternoon everybody, and I'll just continue this lecture with our objective was to play with a dice. To play with a dice. Okay. So just I've not erased the first lecture. So now just let us give a quick recapitulation, right? So we have seen that a vector with the rotation of the coordinate, it is going to take the form like this. This is the rotated coordinate and this is the rotational part and this is what is the vector. Okay? Now, but a transformer, or we have defined a tensor, is going to take the form in the rotated form, in the rotated coordinate as R, that transformation R transpose, where R is or any orthogonality. Okay, depending on your the condition that you are going to impose. Okay, so now we'll be realizing those quantities like we know vector, right? Because it has a very strong geometrical sense. But what about the tensor? Or what about the transformation that we have discussed? So we'll be trying to realize that in the geometrical sense as well. So for that, I'm going to start from our class 7 or 8 experiment of Pascal law. I think you know, all of you know Pascal law, right? So it is going to say that a fluid is incompressible and stationary, it is not flowing. Okay, so at any point the fluid pressure is rho gh. So we will be doing this experiment over here and we will be learning that what pressure is mean, right? Now in order to do this experiment, what I am going to do is that I am going to take a shape somewhat like this. Though my drawing is pretty bad, let's make it bigger. Yeah, I hope you are now understanding what I am talking about. So it is somewhat like this. Okay, the shape is somewhat like this, and you have put a rubber membrane over here. So let's say this one is your rubber membrane. This one is your rubber membrane. Like this, I have taken a rubber membrane, embedded with it, and this is what is my fluid. And this is what is my glass tube, embedded, glass tube, and over here I have put the alcohol, or you can put mercury and all these things. So whenever the fluid pressure is going to, the external force exerted by this fluid is going to be the same, or let's say this is the water and this one is the alcohol. Okay, so when the water pressure or water force is going to be the same as that of your alcohol, then it is going to be the straight, the membrane is going to be straight. But if the alcohol pressure is going too high, then it is going to bulge out. This portion is going to bulge out. Now if the alcohol is less, then it is going to bulge in. Now for example, let's say you are at a height of, just I am recapitulating my class 7 or 8 experiment with Pascal, right? So let's say this height is h. So we know that the fluid pressure is rho gh, right? Now look that this is what is my area. The rubber membrane which is been attached over here is the area, and its unit normal direction is this. So this is what is my area vector. Let's say it is in the equilibrium. So that means you have poured high amount of alcohol in order to balance the same in water. Okay, sure. Now what the experiment you are trying to do? So Pascal law is going to say that if you keeping h height is the same, if you rotate it any way, this is not going to either bulge in or bulge out. That means they are going to stay at equilibrium position. Are you understanding? It is going to say that, say suppose it is at the height h. So we keeping that height same, if I am going to reorient like this, like that, this, any position, the fluid equilibrium is not going to change. This is what is the Pascal law is going to say about. Now let us say how to illustrate this. So this is what is my force. So I can write conveniently F is equal to, look over there, they are collinear. They are collinear, right? F is equal to minus P times A. Nothing wrong into it. Nothing wrong into it. Now, let's say, just I am taking this head, bit of like this. I mean, not this position, the height is not being changed, but just to illustrate. Let's say this. So over here, this is what is my area vector, and this is also my force vector. But you look carefully that if you are going to keep a coordinate system, let's say this is your capital X and capital Y, then your A vector has changed, F vector also has changed, but this condition is satisfied. This condition is satisfied, but it does not completely justify the physical quantity of pressure. So for that, what I am going to do in two-dimensional way, if I am going to write, let's say Fx and Fy is equal to minus P 0, 0, minus P Ax and Ay. Is it going to describe the whole thing? Like whatever we have done in the experiment, is it going to represent the thing or not? That is what we are going to check. Now once again I am just repeating this experiment. This experiment, I think all of you know from class 7 onwards, that to illustrate the Pascal law, we just take a special set somewhat like this, and over there I will be putting the rubber membrane, and I will be digging into the water, and this glass tube is to be filled with the mercury. Now for the sake of equilibrium thing, this membrane is not going to bulge in or bulge out, rather it is going to be straight. So let us say at height h, this is at the straight position, and to illustrate that, keeping the same position, I have made somewhat like this. Okay, in both the cases F is equal to minus PA. Agree? But it does not represent properly the property of the fluid or the Pascal law or what is pressure. So they are represented now in this form. Okay, now you look. What you are trying to do is that you are trying to change the orientation. Okay, you are trying to change the orientation. Now for orientation purpose, as it is a tensor, what I will be doing it? I will be making R. This is what is my P, R transpose. Let's do it. I think you can remember R was cos theta sin theta minus sin theta cos theta. Now you put minus p 0 0 minus p and take the transpose. So it is going to be cos theta sin theta and over here sin theta minus cos theta. Now you please do it. I am not going to. Please do it. So at first you are going to do this part, next this part, next this part, next this part. After that you are going to come like this. So please do it. Please do. Just take your time, take your copy and do it. What you are going to get? Let's check. Let's check what you are going to get. Yeah, I think you are quite good in computation. So I am just going to write directly the answer. It is minus p 0 0 minus p. Now are you understanding? This is what is going to be the property of pressure. It is not that this, rather it can be modified as Pi. Look over here, it is identity matrix or identity tensor or identity transformation. So if you are going to write this, then it becomes correct. So at that time this pressure becomes scalar. And what do you know? That pressure is a scalar quantity, but not. Its magnitude is a scalar quantity, but actually it is a, for hydrostatic case, it is a tensorial quantity. Now let us do this experiment, beat of change. So now the change is, we just forget Pascal law. I don't bother about the Pascal law. Now, yeah, this is what I agree, but it is flowing, the streamlines are like that somewhat. Are you understanding? This is what is a flowing fluid. This is what is your flowing fluid. Now, if it is the flowing fluid, then you understand what is going to happen. If this is what is the direction of flow, then what is going to happen? If you are going to keep it like this, you have to pour more alcohol. Quite obvious. It is going to, the tendency is going to bulge in. So you have to balance it, you have to pour more amount of alcohol. Right? Now you reorient. Nothing is going to be the same. If you just slightly reorient, you will find that equilibrium is lost. You have more amount of pressure in the alcohol zone. So you have to reduce the alcohol to make it balance. And when it becomes perpendicular, it is going to give you the hydrostatic force, the Pascal law, because it doesn't have any flow effect. So in that case, your pressure is going to be not like this. It is then going to be Pxx, Pxy, Pxy and Pyy. Now if you are going to put it over here, it is not going to be this. it is something else. Now that part you have studied in as a mode circle in your first year engineering mechanics course, or in your higher studies you are going to learn the mode circle part. So now I will be just given the illustration of what pressure is in as a tensor. Okay, as a tensor, what is pressure, right? And we have physically understood that the Pascal law, for the Pascal law, this is what is the term, and it is going to show this property with any orientation. Actually we are giving what? By this, for the Pascal law, we are giving the orientation, and that is what is mathematically showing. If you are going to reorient, nothing is going to change. But that symmetry is being broken as soon as it is a dynamical fluid or it is a flowing fluid. So that property is immediately lost. Okay, now we will be just to illustrate that, we will be going for the pressure stress as an example. What do you, because most of you have done in your first year engineering mechanics, like my mechatronics students and the dynamic students. So I will be just taking the stress. So for the stress, you are going to write F is equal to, this is the vector, sigma xx, sigma xy, sigma xy, sigma yy, and, or rather you can write it as in this way, fx and fy, ax and ay. Now you can do other way as well. For example, this A will be having one magnitude, so that magnitude you will be dividing thoroughly, individually by fx and fy. So it becomes a unit normal. That is also possible. So in that case, that becomes the stress vector, not the force. Right? So that there are many conventions like your Beer-Johnston, Popov, right? But basically they are the same thing. Okay. So this part is not going to change. It is up to you. So you understand it is a algebraic equation. So whatever you do, if you just going to divide it by this, that is going to be the same. So it's the same relationship. Now, so it has been defined. Let's say, I think if I am not wrong, then this is what is your sigma xx, sigma yy, and this is your tau xy, or sigma, let's say as I am using sigma xy, sigma xy, this is going to be sigma xy and sigma xy, sigma xx, sigma y. Okay, this is what is the representation generally used, or rather the geometrical representation. Now this is what is your mathematical representation. Now you understand that what is the advantage of mathematical explanation, whatever we have learned in the previous class. With that, now if I am going to say that you rotate this element a theta element, right? So if I am going to say that you rotate this element to an angle of theta, say this orientation is going to be theta, then what you have done? What you have done is that you made sigma x, just mode circle, just recall mode circle. So this is what is your, these are the, this is your, let's say this is your point and this is your point. So keeping sigma x plus sigma y, you are going to have created a circle, right? And with respect to that, you have moved twice theta. to get the value of this point. Sure? But I am not going to use this. I am not going to use this, because if you are going to look into your solid mechanics book, they have done it geometrically, and I think it is requiring so many way of what I will say, that calculations and all those things. I am going to go straight. What the straight method is, if the theta angle I have to move or rotate, then I am straight going to write r cos theta, or rather I am going to use r sigma r transpose. This is what is my sigma dash is, or this new state of stasis. I will bypass motion. I don't need. Okay. Now you check cos theta, sin theta, minus sin theta, cos theta, sigma x, sigma xy, sigma xy, sigma yy, and over here cos theta, sin theta, minus sin theta, cos theta. Now I will ask you, you please solve it. You please solve it. You are going to get without any geometrical sense, because previously you have learned the geometry, or you have physically realized what geometry is. You don't need any geometry, any Newtonian equation to balance. Nothing is required. Just you do it and check in your solid mechanics book. You are going to get the same result as that. I don't need more circle. I don't need any force balance. Only I need that my stress is a tensor quantity, and it is going to follow with the rotation of the coordinate. It is going to follow this. Now I am coming another limitations of motion. More circle, another limitations is it cannot deal the three-dimensional case. Though it is going to deal, but that dealing is not that way smart. It is up to the two dimension. But have I ever told that my rotational matrix or rotational transformation or rotational tensor is really limited to two dimensional? No. At the beginning I told that you are going to take three dimensional, it is going to follow. And with the course, as the courses is going to go on for the dynamics, you will find that we will be coming to the three-dimensional rotation in the all line. So I don't bother about it. Okay, so I know that for any tensor, whether it is stress, whether it is pressure, whether it is magnetic susceptibility, whether it is inertia, it is going to deal in the same way as that. So I don't need any motion, right? Now I am coming over there that in this case the expression is going to be sin square theta cos square theta sin theta cos theta, a big lot of expression. You can use MATLAB as well, symbolic toolbox, to do it of your own, right? Just give a command, you are going to get the entire expression. You don't have to do on your hand as well. But the thing is that, which is important over here, that this is going to be transformed. The expression is going to come as sin square theta, sin theta, cos theta, many things is going to come. I don't bother about it. But what is important over here is that stress is a physical quantity, or a tensor, stress as a tensor is a physical quantity. Now I have the force as a vector is a physical quantity. And if you remember in my last first class, I told that a vector is not going to change its direction and magnitude. what is the guarantee that this physical quantity, stress, is not being changed? Are you understanding the situation? I am saying that a vector is having magnitude and direction. So with the rotation of coordinate, they are not going to change. But the state of stress at any point is a physical quantity. It is not going to change. For example, in a humorous way, so suppose the exam is nearing, right? Your mind is under full pressure or under full stress, right? So the thing is that whoever is going to look from whatever the angle, it is going to be the same. If a body is subjected to a force, now at any point, the state of stress is going to be the same as a physical quantity. But with the rotation of coordinate, like over here we are doing, it is going to change its distribution. But as a physical quantity, it is going to be remain the same. Where is the proof? Are you understanding the question? Please appreciate the question. Then I am going to tell you the answer. So, think about it. This is the body. And for simple example, we have studied simple uniaxial extension, right? I am just making it simple uniaxial extension. Now, for this simple uniaxial extension, the state at a point, if you are going to take many cross sections, the state of stress is going to change, right? The component is going to change, but something has to be same. That is what is the stress. And what is that? So over here, I'll revert back. I think all of you, my entire audience, is having the knowledge of linear algebra. So I am going to refer to Cayley-Hamilton theorem, which is applicable to a matrix. That it is going to satisfy its own characteristics equation, right? So that characteristics equations are going to say that some quantities are there which I am not going to change. What are those? The trace is not going to be changed. You look carefully. So the trace, that means sigma x plus sigma y, is going to be identical with sigma x dash plus sigma y dash 1. Second, this is the first invariant. Second invariant is its square minus the determinant of square. Second invariant, there exists one second invariant. And the third invariant is its determinant is not going to change. Okay, so these three properties are not going to be changed as per the Cayley-Hamilton theorem. You can relook once again the Cayley-Hamilton theorem, and you will find that for this matrix, the state of stress, it is going to be different. The components are going to be different, like the vector. The components are going to be different, but they are not going to change. There are three invariants. One is stress, first invariant, second invariant, and the third invariant is the determinant. They are not going to change. So it is the proof. So as a physical quantity, what tensor is going to, the stress, I'll say that the stress is just an example. It is applicable to any. They are not going to change. Okay. Now I am coming to my this part. If the state of stress or any tensor is somewhat like this, then what is going to happen? And we have seen it for the Pascal. Once again, we will relook that if my tensor is somewhat like this, M 0 0 M, then what is going to happen? Okay. So I think you understand. Over here I am going to do is Px, Py. I am just using Px and Py. Sorry. Now if I am going to do the change the coordinate, then this m dash is going to be cos theta sin theta minus sin theta cos theta. Over here it is m 0 0 m, and this is going to be cos theta sin theta minus sin theta and cos theta. Sure. And this part is going to take the shape of C. It is going to be m 0 0 m times, of course over here Vx is there, or the m as we have taken about the ms. So it is going to be the same. Now what does it mean? It means that, say suppose if you take a particle of mass n, if you give the input of velocity v, the p is going to be collinear, like the pressure. Now we will check that this is called invariance to rotation. Look carefully. This is called invariance to rotation and reflection, or rather invariance with respect to the any orthogonal transformation, right? So that is why it is identity tensor, like that of. And you have known that mass is a scalar quantity, but keep one thing in mind, mass is not a scalar quantity, it is a tensorial quantity. When this symmetry is going to break, if for example in x direction the velocity is comparable with respect to the light, and then it is going to be 1 minus square root of v square by c square, Lorentz transformation, and this side is going to be the same because y direction it is not there. Now you do this, you will find that this is not equal to this. So what you are doing? You are breaking the symmetry. You are just breaking the symmetry. So if the symmetry has been broken, then this part invariance to any orthogonal transformation is not valid, right? So with this property we call it that mass is isotropic. I think you have studied the isotropic material, and over there your instructor might have told that you do it in any direction. Just if this object is isotropic, it means that if I load in this direction, Young's modulus is same. If I load in this direction, Young's modulus is same. But now you know mathematically what isotropy is. Isotropy is invariance with respect to any rotation and reflection. Okay, and this is what is the thing. So if it is having not comparable to the velocity of mass, this velocity is not comparable, then this mass is isotropic. If fluid is incompressible and non-flowing, then the pressure is isotropic. Okay? They are not going to change with the orientation of the coordinate. Sure? But in general, now you take up a body, any body, you give an angular orientation. There is no guarantee that your angular momentum L is going to be collinear. There are few cases where angular momentum is going to be collinear, and that property we are going to study with respect to the dice. Okay, now it is clear. So with that, I think I'll not extend this lecture too much because you need some time to think. So I'll just recapitulate once again. Okay, because you have to look back your first year engineering mechanics or higher secondary, somewhat like that. Okay, so what I'll be talking about is that we have seen that with an example in this class is that a hydrostatic pressure is an isotropic. This is the property of Pascal law. That means keeping the height same, you reorient to any. Like this, reflect, pressure is same. This orient same, this orientation same, any orientation, it is going to be the same. And they represented as minus P, 0, 0, minus P. Or you can write it as minus P times identity tensor or identity matrix. So then this pressure becomes scalar. But in general, that symmetry has been broken or this isotropy has been broken if the fluid is flowing. Okay? If the fluid is flowing, then you understand it is going to be Pxx, Pxy, Pxy, Py, like the states we are doing. And we have seen that the Moore circle, whatever we have done in our first year engineering mechanics course, that can be better represented and better understood with these rotational transformations. That means state of stress as a physical quantity, it is going to be it is a property, right? If you are going to look from a particular coordinate, its value is that. From other coordinate, the values are going to change. But as a physical quantity, this stress is not going to change at all. And that proof, where is that proof? That proof is going to come from the Cayley-Hamilton theorem. All these three invariants in the Cayley-Hamilton theorem, whatever you have found, is going to be the same. One is the trace is going to remain the same. Just look once again. In your engineering mechanics course book, you will find that sigma xx plus sigma yy is equal to sigma x dash plus sigma y dash. First. Second invariant is its determinant is going to be the same. The second invariant is going to be the same. And the third invariant is the determinant. The determinant is going to be the same. They are going to preserve. This is what is the proof that as a physical quantity, the stress is not going to change, or it's not true about the stress, it is true for all the set of tensor of physical quantities which are going to follow the law that we have defined in the beginning class. Okay? Now we have seen that mass can be considered as a scalar because it is generally, it transforms the velocity as a collinear as that of the linear momentum. But in general, angular momentum is non-collinear with the angular velocity. And now this symmetry property of mass is going to change if in any direction the velocity is proportional comparable to the light velocity. Then this, with the Lorentz transformation, I think you know that this symmetry is going to be broken. And you have to consider with the orientation of the coordinate, this is going to behave same as that of you have done for the stress. Okay, and we know that this matrix or this tensor is isotropic because with any orthogonal transformation they are not going to change and their property is like that. So with that, I'll just keep in suspense. So far we have not reached our objective to play with the dice. We have not. So I conclude. Thank you for your presence. Thank you.